Welcome back. So Smith, I'm Anaya.
What are you supposed to tell the audience?
Today, solving linear equations with variables on each side of the equal sign.
And what are you also supposed to tell the audience, the viewing audience?
Like, share, subscribe.
All right, so read the problem.
13s equals 2s minus 66.
All right, so what variable are you trying to solve for?
S.
Okay. Based on the problem we did recently, how are you going to do this?
Solve for the right side.
Say what?
Solve for the right side.
You can't solve for the right side. What do you mean solve for the right side?
2s.
What do you mean? What about 2s? Explain yourself. What's your first step?
Subtract.
Subtract what?
2s.
Okay, then say that then. Subtract 2s from where? So you don't want to transpose like we just did. Yes or no? Make a decision.
No.
All right, so what are you going to do? Subtract 2s from where?
2s.
And where else?
13s.
Correct. Now what she's doing is she said subtract 2s from 2s and subtract 2s from 13s. That keeps the equation balanced. You have too many s's. It's too many s's. When you see an equation where you got variables on both sides of the equal sign, you got too many variables. You need to have one of those variables so you can combine them. This is a way of combining the variables. All right? Don't stand on that, please. Matter of fact, pick that up and stand it up. Lean up against the wall. Since you knocked it down before and didn't pick it up. All right, so subtract 2s right here, subtract 2s right here. So we got minus 2s right there, minus 2s right there. What's 2s minus 2s?
S.
No, it's not.
0.
Now, I'm going to tell you why it's not s. S is equal to 1s. So that would mean that 2s minus 2s would equal 1s. That's like saying 2 minus 2 equals 1. That's like saying if you have $2 and you go in the store and spend $2, you still have $1 left. How would you still have $1 left? Does that make sense? Does it make sense to you?
No.
So that's why 2 minus 2 is not 1. Stop touching that meter stick, please. 2s minus 2s is not 1. And this is why you have to understand the things that are equivalent to each other in algebra. S is the same thing as 1s. S is the same thing as 1s. So there's no way that 2s minus 2s could be equal to 1s. Because that's like saying 2 minus 2 equals 1. 2 minus 2 don't equal 1. All right? So, you were right the second time when you said 2s minus 2s was 0. These cancel out. That's 0. Do you need to write the 0? No, you don't. What's 13s minus 2s?
11s.
A what?
11.
11 what?
S.
11s, not 11. It's 11s. 11s, bring the equal sign down. Do I bring this down? No, I don't. These are gone. Bring the negative 66 down. Now 11s equals negative 66. Now I'm not lining them up vertically because I'm making the equation smaller. I'm doing this intentionally. 11s equals negative 66. How do I get s by itself?
Divide.
Divide what? Be specific. Be specific. Be specific. Divide what by 11?
11.
Divide what by 11?
11s.
All right, so say the step from the beginning to end. What do I do next?
Divide 11s by 11.
Right. Also, parents, challenge your children to explain their work. Don't let them do this like halfway, like, make them explain their work. Because that will mean that will help them with their retention of the steps. Right? Explain your steps. That forces them to think about what the steps actually are. Right? And it's not enough to say, well, I know how to do it, I don't know how to explain it. No, you need to know how to explain it. If you you can't explain it, you don't really know how to do it. Right? So you need to know how to explain it. So you said do 11s divided by 11. How's that gonna help us? Another thing. Every time you do something in a math problem, you should know how. You should know why you're doing it, and you should know how it's gonna help you. And you should be able to articulate that. How is dividing by 11 gonna help us get to our goal?
So you can get S by itself.
Good answer. So we can get S by itself. Because what's 11 divided by 11?
1.
Correct. Any number divided by itself is equal to 1, except for 0. But 1S, 1 over 1 is just 1, times S is just S. Again, like I said before, 1S is the same thing as S. 1S is equal to S. 1S is equal to S. 1 is not equal to S. A lot of students make that mistake. Don't ever make that mistake. 1 is not equal to S. 1S is equal to S. 1 is not equal to X. 1X is equal to X. 1X and X are the same thing. I've seen that hundreds and hundreds of times throughout my career. Students making that mistake. No, X is not equal to 1. You don't know what X is equal to until you solve for X. 1X is the same thing as X though. All right, this is an equation, so we got to stay balanced. If I divide it by 11 on the left side, what am I doing on the right side? Divide by what?
11.
Be specific. Always tell the whole story. Don't leave parts of the story out. Don't just say divide. Say divide by 11. Don't be lazy. What's negative? What's the quotient? What's the quotient of negative 66 and 11?
-6.
So S equals negative 6. We think that's the correct answer. Now we go up here to check our work. Always check your work. Always check your work. When you're in class, always check your work. Don't wait for the teacher to come around and validate you. Don't wait for the teacher to come around and tell you that you got it right so you can feel smart. Check the work. Check your work on your own so you can know you're smart. Or at least you know how to do this. Because you can be smart and still get this wrong. But at least so you can feel like, okay, I'm competent and I'm proficient and I know how to solve equations. Don't wait for the teacher. Go ahead and check your work. What's 13 times negative 6? Let's see how many multiplication facts you know. 13 times negative 6. You know your 13 facts? Negative 78. So you know your 13 facts, or did you figure it out by decomposing? How'd you figure that out? Tell the people how you figured that out. Look into the camera. Tell the people. How'd you get negative 78? So what she did was, see, that's the new math that a lot of people watching this video complain about. But see how helpful it is? You see how helpful it is? Right? Maybe your child's teacher didn't tell you how helpful it is. I'm here to tell you it's very helpful. What she did is she decomposed. She broke the 13 down into 10 plus 3. She broke the 13 down into 10 plus 3. And then she multiplied the negative 6 by each of those numbers. Because she might not have the 13 facts memorized. So if your child don't have the 13 facts, 14 facts, 15 facts, the 22 facts, whatever, have them memorized, they can break that factor down into two smaller numbers, of which they do have the facts memorized. So my daughter knows what 10 times 6 is. My daughter also knows what 3 times 6 is. So because she knows that, she knows she can find those two products and then just add them together. And it gives her 78. But because we're multiplying a positive by a negative, the product is always going to be negative. Good job. So we got negative 78. What's 2 times negative 6?
-12.
So we got negative 12. Because a positive times a negative is always a negative. And then we got minus 66. So negative 78 on the left side. So is this a true statement? Is negative 12 minus 66 the same thing as negative 78? Is it?
No.
It's not? Negative 12 take away 66. That's the same thing as doing 12 plus 66 and making the answer negative. What's 12 plus 66?
Yes.
So that's another trick. So negative 12 minus 66, you can treat the two numbers like they're positive and just do addition. 12 plus 66. Because really this is like adding a debt. A debt of 12 and a debt of 66. You put them together. All together, how much do you owe? You owe $78. If you owe somebody 12, you owe somebody 66. Altogether, you owe $78. 12 plus 66, you can do 10 plus 60 is 70, and then 2 plus 6 is 8. 70 plus 8 is 78. But they're negative though. So it's not positive 78, negative 78. So because we got that, that means that this is correct. So you draw a box around it. Once you know it's correct, draw your box around it. All right? Now, this is another example of solving equations. We have variables on both sides. Variables on both sides. I did another video where we transposed. This time we didn't transpose. We followed the subtraction property of equality, subtracting 2s on both sides, because you can't have them variables all over the place. You need to have the variables in one place. That's the goal. You want the variables in one place. Right, Assata?
Yeah.
Variables in one place. All right? And then by subtracting 2s on the right and subtracting 2s on the left, that's what we accomplish. See the goal? We got an s right here. Ain't no more s's nowhere else. It's right there. That's what you want. When you get your answer, go back and check your work, plug your answers into the original equation, see if it gives you a true statement. Math is all about finding the truth. You want to find the truth. Math is all about finding the truth. The truth is derived from correct answers. If we get a falsehood or a lie, like if this said negative 78 equals 412, that's not true. Those aren't the same values. And that means that this would be an incorrect answer, an answer that doesn't answer, an explanation that don't explain, or a solution that don't solve. All right, I think we're done here. Make sure you go practice some problems like this. Find some equations like this and practice solving. Equations with variables on both sides. All right, the better you are at algebra, the better you're going to be at problem solving in life. I promise you. Anything you want to say?
No.
All right, we out.